What up, guys? Your boy Quake back with a brand new episode of the Diverse Mentality Podcast, number 278. And of course, as always, powered by Golden Eagle Energy Drink. Get your Golden Eagle Energy Drinks at drinkgoldeneagle.com/DMP. They've sponsored all of season 4. So shout out to them. Big shout out to them. So go get your drinks at drinkgoldeneagle.com/DMP. Now let's get into it. There's been a lot of, well, not really a lot, but there's been a back and forth. J. Cole decided to respond to Kendrick Lamar, and he did it in a way where he just sent a warning shot. So we're going to break that down later on in the podcast and expand on that as well, because I upload sometimes some of these clips on my main YouTube channel, so it's already there, sometimes earlier, but here I want to kind of expand a little bit more. So I'm going to be breaking down that track lyric by lyric, bar by bar, and just kind of go over the 7-minute drill track and why it's even called the 7-minute drill. So before we get into all that, let's get some updates on some things that we've reported on in previous podcast episodes. And that's the BG situation, the situation that's frustrated me because BG's just doing his job, and he was going to face probation violation because he was just rapping on stage with Boosie, because Boosie's a convicted felon. He can't be around convicted felons, and that caused him to potentially violate his probation. But his lawyer says that's not the case. So let's go over the article. BG was allowed to perform a Boosie Badass and didn't violate his parole by doing so, according to his lawyers. Attorneys for the artist born Christopher Dorsey claimed as much in the court filings on Friday, April 5th. These filings asked a federal judge to allow the artist to remain on supervised release rather than face going back to prison. It was in late March that a federal probation officer requested that Dorsey be arrested because he failed to obtain clearance to perform at a concert in Las Vegas, Nevada, alongside Boosie on February 8th. The same probation officer also asserted that the Cash Money veteran never received proper permission to release the Gucci Mane collaboration album he did, Choppers and Bricks, in December. BG is accused of violating his probation through the performance, as he is not allowed to associate with other convicted felons as part of his probation, like Boosie Badass, Gucci, and Gucci is also a convicted felon. According to a report, The Guardian, the recent filing asserted that Dorsey had gotten the proper permission for all his work from those monitoring him at the halfway house before he had been put on a supervised release under the watch of a probation officer. The report went on to add that prosecutors admitted that he was granted authority to perform in some of these instances during hearing that happened shortly after the rapper's arrest in Las Vegas. They blamed the accusations surrounding permission to participate in December performance on a communication lapse. BG's attorneys, Bill Gibbons and David Chesnoff, reiterated that the halfway house had given him permission to have contact with both artists before he moved out and was put on supervised release. So they're attesting that, they already did their due diligence way before BG even had contact with Gucci or Boosie. The MC's attorneys aren't the only ones crying foul. Earlier this week, Boosie Badass himself criticized. Yeah, so we talked about that in the last podcast where he was saying, listen, all my supporters, support BG because it's bullshit what's happening. And I agree. It's total bullshit. He's just doing his job. That's all he's doing. That's all he's known his whole life. He's been rapping since he was a teenager. So, hopefully the lawyers actually get this to go through and, do their part. Our lawyers are supposed to do. Obviously, you're paying them big bucks. So I'm sure they'll figure out a way to make sure that this goes away and that BG stays free, because the man just recently got out, to be honest with you. It's been, 6 months, I think. So he hasn't been out much. So for that to happen immediately the second it gets out is bullshit. So we'll look into it a little bit more if there's new news that comes out of it. But I just wanted to give you guys that quick update where the lawyers are saying, hell nah, that we did our due diligence. So shout out to his lawyers and shout out to BG. Hopefully everything goes smooth. Dame Dash, it looks like his attorneys are no longer wanting to work with him, and we reported on this on previous episodes. He's basically not paid him. So, you don't pay your lawyers, they're not going to, do their job. So that's simple as that. Dame Dash has discovered that he no longer has an attorney, as his longtime lawyer has officially resigned over unpaid legal fees. According to court documents obtained by Hip Hop DX, Felton T, Noel, and Justin H. Sanders, Esquires of Sanders Roberts LLP, had their motions to withdraw as the ex-Rockefeller exec's legal representation granted as of March 29th, and as of Friday, April 5th, they informed all parties involved in the matter. Newell and Sanders claimed they withdrew as Dash's legal counsel due to embattled executives' breach of contractual obligations to the firm, meaning that Dash had not paid them for their services. Damon Dash has now until April 29th to find new counsel to represent him. If he fails to do so, he will be permitted to represent himself, though that is highly unusual at a federal level. The motion to withdraw was first filed by Sanders Roberts LLP last month. The firm was defending him after he was sued by photographer Monique Bunn. The firm alleged that the mogul failed to fulfill their financial obligations under their retainer agreement, resulting in the firm initiating an enforcement action against them. That lawsuit, by the way, is like this person's seeking $384 million. So it's an insane lawsuit. The photographer that feels like a lot of the stuff that Dame Dash used was violating his rights of his photography. But I talked about this a while ago. This guy's seeking, or this person, woman, I don't know if it's a woman or a guy, Monique Bunn, probably after he was sued, was defending after he sued. I don't know, but regardless, this person is seeking way too much fucking money, $384 million. In your wildest dreams, you're not going to get that. It's just not happening. Whoever you are, lady, male, Piccolo, green, Pokemon, I don't know what you are. Regardless, you're not getting $340 million. It's just not going to happen. I will defend him, and I'll be able to. I'm not even a fucking lawyer, and I'll be able to beat that case in 2 seconds. $384 million for some photography is utterly ridiculous. I don't give a fuck if you're the greatest photographer that's ever lived. It's not happening. If you're Peter fucking Parker, who takes Spider-Man shots right close in his nutsack that he usually does, those close-ass shots that the guy was trying to pay for. And that I'm talking about the original Spider-Man, by the way, one that came out in 2002, I think. You know, Parker, or whatever the fuck. I don't know how he talks, but it's hilarious. But, like, that's when you deserve, okay, you can't catch, nobody can catch Spider-Man as a photographer. The guy's too fucking quick. Then only Spider-Man can shoot Spider-Man, right? So Peter Parker, that's who deserves that kind of money. If we're talking money for photographies. Or those legendary, like, moments that, like, hey, man, this was something. So, but even that, it's like, come on, man, $384 million, you lost your damn marbles. So we'll keep our eye on this, but Dame Dash is going to find somebody new, I'm sure. He's probably just doesn't want to pay them that outstanding amount of money. Or he might be going through financial troubles, which he kind of admitted before. So, you know, we'll keep our eye out. Continuing on, Young Thug's attempt has failed in the YSL Rico trial, so let's go over it. Young Thug's attempt to disqualify the lead prosecutor in the Rico case against him and his YSL collective has been denied by the judge. Thugger, through his attorney Brian Steele, had submitted a motion to disqualify Chief Deputy District Attorney Adrian Love from prosecuting the high-profile case. They argued that Love overseeing the trial seriously threatened Thug's right to a fair trial. The motion claimed that Love had unlawfully inserted himself into the proceedings and essentially became an unsworn witness due to the nature of her questioning of a witness during the trial. Fulton County District Attorney Feeney Willis' office responded to the motion saying that the defense provided no compelling authority for the prosecution that her disqualification is required. Ruling on the motion on Thursday, April 4th, Judge Uriel Glanville sided with the prosecution and said Love can stay on the trial. The trial, which has already begun on 4 months, does not appear to be any closer to reaching a conclusion. This shit's going to go on for another, probably to the end of this year, probably beginning of 2025, it might conclude. These things take like 90 million years. Our tax dollars get spent to shit that, I'm telling you, in America, if you live in America, just know your tax dollars that you pay is getting used for the dumbest shit and just wasting time. That's all. Like, dude, our construction sites take 90 million years to finish. Right now, there's construction happening right outside my office, like a couple of streets down. They're repaving the road, right? Completely dismantled it. Like when you drive on it, it's uneven. The car's bouncing, all kinds of shit. So they're repaving it with new asphalt, whatever. This shit is taking literally, just to do that is taking weeks. Like it should be, hey, this side of the road, we're going to start on this side, on the left side. You guys drive on the right side right now. Block. By the way, it's blocking traffic. Roads are all fucked up. It's slowing down everything. And they're taking weeks to do this. So I'm just using this YSL Rico thing because even these trials take 90 million years. Like, what's so slow about a lot of these things? I don't understand it. Maybe there's something I don't understand because I'm not a lawyer and I'm not in these things. I understand that it's somebody's life and they should take their time. But look at fucking YNW Melly. Whether the guy's guilty or innocent, he should not be staying in prison for 5 years waiting for his trial to restart. The first one went to shit. Now he's waiting more and more time. I don't care whether you're guilty or innocent. You should not be waiting 5 fucking years for you to find out if you get guilty or innocent prosecuted. It's bullshit. So I don't understand why in America it's all because of money. Just pennies get pinched out of all these situations. And the longer these things drag on, the more money people make. That's all this is. And it's unfortunate. The system needs to be fixed to where, especially in construction sites, man, oh my God, this I can go on a rant on construction sites. I can create a whole podcast just talking about how shitty construction sites here are in America. Literally, there's probably, I probably drive by 4 to different 5 construction sites that have started and haven't been completed. Like, why do these construction sites start so many at once and then work on them bit by bit? Like, start on one, finish it. Start on the next one, finish it. Like, I understand there's multiple companies and they're doing their own thing, but these things take forever. If you're going to start multiple construction sites, fucking have them done within whatever a reasonable time, depending on what you're doing, obviously. I know certain things take a little bit longer. Like one construction site, they're building a whole entry and exit way through the highway, a whole new entry and exit way, which I understand. That takes a little bit of time, right? You got to, plan things out, how you're going to do it. A bunch of road and trees needs to get debris out. It needs to be paved out perfectly. All that shit takes time. I understand that. But fixing the road and putting asphalt, that shit should take a week max. Shut down and go work at night. There's less cars at night. Or shut down the roads during the day. Block one side of the road. By the way, they block. So like, if you're going up, the other side of the road is going down. The right side would be blocked on the right side going on the road going down, and the left side would be blocked on the road going up. So it's like you have one-way traffic. You only have one road of going. It clogs up traffic, causes so many problems. I know I butchered that in explaining it, but you kind of get what I'm saying. It's just it just causes too many problems. Same shit with these trials. Take 90 million years. Same things with a lot of stuff. Just take 90 million years here in America. It's like, where the fuck are our tax dollars going? What are these people doing? They're just getting paid to not do anything. There's actually been judges who they've been caught scamming the system, basically not going to work or doing the bare minimum, getting paid $170,000 a year, $200,000, $250,000 a year, and doing nothing besides going golfing all day. Like, there's been judges that have been exposed for that because they don't care. The longer it takes, it doesn't matter, man. Somebody's life, they can rot in prison. Doesn't matter whether they're guilty or innocent. We'll take our time. We'll take our sweet time. Like, that's fucked up. That's fucked up. Anyways, I can go on a whole rant with that. Speaking of plea deals and judges and stuff, Jam Master Jay's murder suspect is reportedly considering a plea deal. So let's go over the article. Jam Master Jay was tragically murdered in New York 22 years ago, and now after 2 people have been found guilty, the final suspect in the case is reportedly considering a plea deal. The Associated Press is reporting that prosecutors are considering a plea for Jay Bryant, 50 years old, though it is not clear what the deal comprises. Both sides are due to file a status report by August 5th. Neither Bryant nor his lawyer, Cesar de Castro, issued a comment after the court meeting on Thursday, April 4th. Should the 2 sides not come to a resolution, they are due to commence the trial in January 2025. So, yeah, last year, Jay Bryant, who was 49 at the time, became the 3rd person to be charged in the case. So those other 2 people obviously got convicted, so they were found guilty on all counts. So he's probably going to look for a deal, which, I mean, hey, it depends. If he's really involved in it, then yeah, he's probably going to look for a deal. If he wasn't involved in it, then obviously they're going to figure out the situation, see what they can get him and what kind of information maybe they can get from him, or who knows. But we'll keep our eye out. Just wanted to give you guys that quick update on Jam Master Jay's murder trial. Not trial, but just murder case. Former Bad Boy artist G Dep has officially been released from prison, and his story is probably one of the most interesting stories just in murder crimes, period. Not even just hip-hop, but just in murder crimes, period. I might actually do a documentary on it because it's just that interesting. I didn't know about it until recently, so let's go over the article of his release. G Dep, best known for being signed to Bad Boy Records in the late 90s, has been released from prison after nearly a decade and a half behind bars. Late last year, the 49-year-old was one of the 16 people who were granted clemency by New York Governor Kathy Hochul. Once his sentence was commuted, he became eligible for parole sooner than he would have. On Thursday, April 4th, the Harlem, New York native was finally released from prison. G Dep's official Instagram documented his release and subsequent celebrations, from being greeted with a prayer circle outside Fishkill Correctional Facility. It's a weird name, Fishkill. In upstate New York, to enjoy his first post-prison meal at IHOP. G-Dep's initial sentence of 15 years to life previously included stipulations that prevented him from requesting parole before the 15-year mark. His clemency grant, however, allowed him to petition the parole board after serving 13 years. Back in 1993, the then 18-year-old rapper tried to rob someone at gunpoint in East Harlem, New York. The victim, who was later identified as 32-year-old John Henkel, resisted the robbery, leading to Depp firing off 3 bullets and fleeing the scene without checking on his victim. Unfortunately, Henkel died from his injuries, and law enforcement were unable to solve the murder until the case eventually went cold. Meanwhile, Jep D signed a deal with Diddy's label and went on to release his debut album, Child of the Ghetto, spawning hits such as Let's Get It and Special Delivery. In 2010, Depp finally turned himself in and was handed to the aforementioned prison sentence 2 years later. So that's kind of the gist of it, but he basically robbed somebody, shot him, thought he was still alive, later found out he died, and then found out the police couldn't figure out, who killed him. So he tried to turn himself in. And he tried to turn himself in multiple times from what I know, from what I remember at least. And they kept saying, like, what are you talking about? Like, you didn't do this. We have no evidence you did this. Shut up. And then after like the second or third time, I think the first time he turned himself in, they thought he had like some mental issues. Like, this guy's crazy. What he's talking about? Because most people that, like 99%, or let's just say 90%, I don't want to put everybody as a bad human being here, but 90% of people, if they got away with a murder, hey, they got away with it, they're going to be like, hey, I don't live with the guilt. Some people won't live with the guilt. Me personally, if I shot somebody and I knew they died, I would turn myself in. I just can't live with the guilt. That's my sin. I fucked up. I got to go do my time as just a man. Own up to your mistakes. That's what G-Dep basically did. Hey, found out he died. Once he found that out, he tried to turn himself in, got rejected multiple times, and then eventually, I think through DNA or whatever, they ended up arresting him. And, well, as you can see here, he did his time. I'm sure he still feels guilty about it because that's something that's really, really, if he turned himself in, clearly it was bothering him for most of his life. So I'm sure now kind of it made him not really release him from his demons, but, serving some time for what you did wrong, I'm sure made him feel a little bit better about, the situation. I'm sure he still feels bad about everything that happened. Probably obviously didn't mean to kill him, but things like this happen. The guy lost his life regardless. So, I'm curious. I'm really curious of what the family of the victim think about G-Dep. The fact that he tried to turn himself in, all this stuff, and that he came forward. Do they respect that? And me personally, on my end, I would commend that. I'd be like, listen, man, he knew he did something wrong. It was haunting him. And he turned himself in, and he owned up to the mistakes, and he apologized. So it's different than if he didn't turn himself in, and then years later they find out, hey, he did it, and then they get him. That's different because he wasn't willingly going to get locked up or going to get caught. This he willingly did. Like, he wanted, like, hey, guys, like, I'm the one that did this. Like, put me in. So the whole thing is an interesting story. I might do a documentary on it in the future. Honestly, it's that interesting of a story that I might do one pretty soon here after I finish this Diddy and these other ones I got lined up. So speaking of Bad Boy Records and Diddy, this is kind of surprising, but not. It's just interesting. Diddy's sexual assault accuser, Lil Rod, has said he is willing to cooperate with the federal investigation into Bad Boy Records founder for sex trafficking. The founder who worked with Puffy on the Love album, the producer, sorry, not the founder, who worked with Puffy on the Love album Off the Grid, has not yet been interviewed by authorities, but according to TMZ, he is happy to do so. Cassie was reported to be, one that's going into that, but TMZ says that Rod is waiting to be contacted by investigators and that he feels vindicated in his lawsuit after the Homeland Security raids on multiple Diddy properties. This is interesting because I thought they raided the properties because of Lil Rod's suit, honestly, because it was the most recent one. It was based in 2022 and 2023, which is very, very recent. Cassie's was probably more around, I think the years were 2008 till like 2015, somewhere around there, 14. So it was a little bit more older, but since Cassie was probably the one that said, hey, I get this settlement, I'm going to go and present what I have to federal, and then get him, get some criminal charges against him, not just civil lawsuits. So that's interesting, man. In my mind, I thought Lil Rod would be one of the ones that was automatically interviewed because it was reported that they were interviewing people. So I thought Lil Rod was already in there. So Maybe they already did, and they're just now Lil Rod's just coming out and saying, listen, I am cooperating. I don't know. Who knows? But that is interesting. I thought Lil Rod was the one that was already going to be in there. So, we'll keep our eye out on this. But, yeah, everybody's, like I said, most people are going to cooperate. They, have no issue with going against Diddy in this situation, at least the people that were involved or were victims. So we'll keep our eye out and keep, hopefully, things kind of change from here in a lot of different situations that's going to happen in the future. So we'll see. Continue on with Diddy. It looks like, allegedly, I'm just going to say allegedly, like father, like son in this situation. And you're probably like, what the hell? Well, it looks like Diddy's son, King Combs, has been accused of sexual assault in a new lawsuit. So what do people say? The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. That's a little tongue twister. So I don't know if it's, I was just going to go over the article. I'm not accusing anybody. I'm just saying allegedly, okay? Diddy's son, King Combs, has been hit with a sexual assault lawsuit of his own in the wake of the myriad of similar changes against his embattled father. The suit, which was filed on Thursday, April 4th in Los Angeles Superior Court, also lists the bad boy mogul as a defendant, according to court documents obtained by NBC News. Grace O. McKay, the plaintiff in the case, alleges that the hip hop scion raped her in 2022, just a few days before Diddy threw his annual New Year's Eve yacht party. Once more, Grace alleges that the yacht party in question was advertised as a wholesome family event, but that it turned into a hedonistic, I don't know what the hell these damn words are, hedonistic environment before she knew it. What does that mean? Just a bad environment. Like father, like son, said attorney Tyrone Blackburn, who is representing both Grace and producer Lil Rod, who filed a similar suit against Diddy in February. In a statement after the filing was made public, it gives us no joy or pleasure in filing this suit against Christian Combs, who has clearly adopted his father's pattern and practice of depravity. I don't know, man, these damn words, man. They be using these damn big-ass words, lawyers. Stop using these big-ass words. Aaron Dyer, attorney for both King Combs and Diddy, responded to the lawsuit with a statement that focused largely on Blackburn. This is just another lewd of meritless claim from Tyrone Blackburn, just like what he filed in the Rodney Jones lawsuit, which he still has not served. This complaint is filed with the same kind of manufactured lies and irrelevant facts we've come to expect from Blackburn. This is exactly why the federal judge in New York slapped him 2 days ago for a pattern of behavior in improperly filing cases in federal court to garner media attention, embarrass defendants with salacious allegations, and pressure defendants to settle quickly, and why he was referred to the disciplinary committee in the Southern District of New York. We will be filing a motion to dismiss this outrageous claim. The lawsuit comes just days after King Combs broke his silence following the federal raids, where he put that little photo of cap, basically saying, stop with the cap. But from what it's not reporting here, but from what I've read and other sources or reports, is they actually have footage of him doing this. Not like actually, raping her, but just touching her in inappropriate ways. So I don't know. They said they have footage of it. So if they have footage, then that's why they're filing. I mean, why would you file and just make random accusations with no valid proof? So we'll keep our eye on this, man. It's sad, man. Hopefully the kids didn't adapt this if Diddy's actually like this. By the way, I just want to make it very clear. Diddy's not been criminally charged. The kid, nothing, none of this. We still haven't gotten really, really solid evidence yet. Lil Rod posted some photos here and there, made some accusations here and there. Cassie had her accusations, but she hasn't really provided proof. Now, there is some people like Kid Cudi who said, yes, this happened, that my car got blew up, this type of stuff. So some of the stuff is lining up and making sense, but some isn't. So that's what the Fed's job is to do, to make sure everything is compact, makes sense, and that way they can actually prosecute. But, yeah, we'll keep our eye on this, man. It's not a good look. Hopefully the other kids don't get hit with suits as well, because, if Diddy was doing that type of stuff, I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to look up to your father. He's doing that type of stuff. You're probably going to end up doing yourself. So not a good look on either end of everything. Diddy, though, has broken his silence, quote unquote. At least this is how a lot of people are viewing it, and including me. I think this is Diddy actually breaking his silence, and it's through a format of Instagram, of course. He's been spotted throughout, Miami, driving his bicycle and just walking around, which he looks pretty relaxed and chill. But There's one clip where a bunch of like people came around, oh my God, Diddy, and then he said, just show me love, give me love, show me support, love. That's it. He said that and one he ran to all these fans, but it looks like he's responded on social media and basically said, hey, I'm a bad boy for life. It is what it is. I mean, I don't know what that's gonna mean or say or what the message he's trying to portray, but he does play the Victory music video that he recorded ages ago. And in that video, it kind of foreshadows what's happening to him right now, which is kind of weird. All these helicopters going over him, he's running away, and the song has this victory chant to it. So he's saying, basically subconsciously, I think Diddy's saying that he's going to win throughout this whole situation, that he's confident he's going to win. He's going to beat all these things, all these allegations and stuff, and he's going to be a free man. Or he hasn't been, obviously arrested yet, but there's a chance of that. So let's go over the article. Diddy appears to have addressed the recent raids on his homes by sharing a music video on social media. The mogul shared the 1998 clip for his song Victory, in which he depicted evading police, sparking discussion online. Making waves on Instagram Friday, April 5th, the embattled rapper shared the full Victory music video. The action-packed scene kicks off in a post-apocalyptic Earth in the year 3002, with the Bad Boy Records founder quickly finding himself on the run from SWAT. And in the caption, he had "Bad Boy for life" with the raised fist emoji. Viewers noticed the similarities between the video and recent events in Diddy's life, most notably the recent raids on his homes by Homeland Security. He said one person wrote, this guy's bold. One guy's like, there we go, puff, fight back, can't stop, won't stop. So there's some people supporting him in the comments, but some people are like, why are you supporting this guy? Listen, no official hard evidence proof has been provided, so Diddy is not officially, charged with anything. So the people that are supporting Diddy have a right to support Diddy. The people that aren't supporting Diddy, they have a right as well, because they think all these lawsuits, where there's smoke, there's fire. That's their take on it. Me, I'm kind of on the fence on both sides. I want to see really, really hard evidence before I just go in on Diddy and say this guy's doing all these bad things. And, I think everybody should take that stance, but there's people that just hate Diddy for the simple fact that they feel like it was Tupac's and Biggie's demise because of him, and they feel like, oh, he's done this and that, he ruined Shine's life, and he's had a lot of death surrounding him and all this stuff. So, I don't know. We can't say anything. As regular citizens, we don't have the information concrete right now to accuse him of anything. So Diddy is clearly feeling like, hey, with this message that I'm going to be all right. So if you look at the music video, it's a bunch of him running around, away from police and stuff like that. And it looks like he's going to have the victory at the last lap. So, yeah, we'll keep our eye posted. But that's the only thing Diddy has posted since, besides being spotted in public and talking a little bit in the public when he's getting spotted. Other than that, he hasn't really said much of anything. So, before we continue, I want to give a shout out to Golden Eagle for sponsoring this podcast. Yes, if it wasn't for Golden Eagle, this podcast wouldn't be possible. If you're looking for an energy drink that doesn't tear a hole in your pocket, Golden Eagle energy drink is the one you want to get. Golden Eagle has the smoothest taste with no aftertaste. You don't get acid reflux when you drink it, and you will save a lot of money. So check out Golden Eagle at drinkgoldeneagle.com/DMP. The link is in the description below. And how do you think this podcast would be possible without me having energy to do it? Come on, guys. You guys got to remember this. I need energy to do this stuff, man, because there's a lot of crazy topics. So look how smooth this thing sounds. Look at it. Oh, my God. It's fresh. Look at that Golden Eagle. Look at the can. It's so beautiful, too, man. Look at that. That's so fresh, man. So fresh. Golden Eagle energy drink. Go to the link description below. That's drinkgoldeneagle.com/DMP. Let's continue the episode. Continuing on, The Weeknd makes history as he extends Billboard Hot 100 chart record. This is insane. The Weeknd's just doing insane stuff. The Weeknd's dominance in the commercial space is only picking up more steam as he broke a new record while setting himself up for another. On Monday, April 1st, the guest appearance on future Metro Boomin's We Don't Trust You secured the number 9 spot on the Billboard Hot 100 tally. With that, Young Metro became the 99th song to make it on the chart. So The Weeknd is now one song away from earning 100 charting hits on the Hot 100. Young Metro becomes his 99th charting song. And it says here, The Weeknd has now earned a new top 10 hit on the Hot 100 each year since 2014. He has the longest active streak for any artist with 11 consecutive calendar years. Wow, so every year he's had some type of hit in the top 10 or was featured on it, or that's insane. I mean, the Weeknd is just a Weeknd, man. This guy's multi-talented in different ways. But I don't care about the like one song away from earning 100 charting hits on the Hot 100. Whatever. I mean, that could mean a song charting at number 99 or number 90, 95, 84. Like, who cares if a song hits that? You know, it's not a hit. People are going to forget it. People are never going to remember that song charted at number 84. That's just a reality situation. Now, top 10 hits, like that fact where he's earned a top 10 hit every year since 2014, that's a fucking hard fact. That I respect because top 10 hits people remember. But the fact that you charted at number 83 or 76 and 64 on these random numbers and now you have almost 100 of those, it's like, who cares, man? It's respectable because you're still on the charts, but, you know, he could have had a song just go number 100 and it's counted as a Hot 100 entry. So it doesn't really matter. But, yeah, salute to Weeknd, man. That other fact with him constantly having a top 10 hit since 2014, insane. I mean, this guy's next level. I can't wait to see what he does with his next project. Finally, this is what I've been wanting, the hip-hop competition. J. Cole has officially responded to Kendrick Lamar. No, we didn't get anything from Aubrey. He's still busy dropping Instagram pictures, being an IG thought, dropping captions. We got something from J. Cole, and we're going to break down everything because there's a lot of stuff that I want to talk about here. So let's first get to the bars, and then I want to talk about a lot of things he was referencing, which is really cool. I think he did a lot of reflecting from Kendrick Lamar's Like That verse. He kind of replicated a lot of stuff there. And then he replicated a lot of stuff from Jay-Z's Takeover diss, which, was going at Nas. So let's go over the bars and let's see what J. Cole had to say. First, if you don't know, this is off of J. Cole's new album / mixtape. I don't know what he's going to call this, if it's an official album release, but he surprise dropped it just now, and it's titled Might Delete Later. He was dropping a lot of vlogs titled Might Delete Later with a lot of previews in between the vlogs of new music coming. So not to say that I expected this, but it's pretty cool that, he just dropped a surprise project. With that, there is a lot of tracks on the album, roughly 12 tracks with a few features from Cameron, Young Dro, Gucci Mane, so on and so forth. And on the last track, 7 Minute Drill, this is where he's responding to Kendrick Lamar. And it's clear as day he's responding to him. There's really no questions asked here of who he's talking about. So let's break down the bars and see what J. Cole had to say. So it starts out saying, light work like it's PWC. PWC is a light and energy company in Fayetteville. It's called Public Works Commission. So he's saying light work. They produce light work. And what he's mean by light work is obviously this is easy. This is easy for him, light work. And this is kind of referencing Kendrick's Like That verse where he says, and your best work is a light pack, even though that was mainly directed at Drake. Here's the thing about Kendrick's Like That verse. He's mainly dissing Drake, not J. Cole. So this J. Cole response is a proper response. And we're going to go over more why I'm saying that. It's a cold world, he says. Keep the heater under your seat. I got a phone call. They say somebody dissing. And this is where he's mentioning Kendrick, that somebody's going at him. You want some attention? It come with extensions. Now, here's more of the gun talk. And this is something that Kendrick Lamar did on Like That. He said, lost too many soldiers not to play it safe. If you walk around with that stick, it ain't Andre 3K. He follows that with think I won't drop my location. I still got PTSD, motherfuck the big three. So you know the whole thing about that. But J. Cole starts with a lot of like bars like that where he's mentioning guns because that's what Kendrick was doing. So you want some attention to come with extensions. My dog likes say the word. He on bullshit. He itching. He's saying his homies around him can get Kendrick Lamar. They can touch him. He said, done put in so much work in these streets. He got a pension. I told him chill out. High look having henchmen. If shots get to popping, I'm the one doing the clinching. So he's making it clear that, hey, we're gonna make this a real battle. We're gonna make this shit tight. So this is where the verse starts in, and this is clear as day. He's talking about Kendrick. I came up in the Ville, so I'm good when it's tension. Fayetteville, North Carolina is one of the more dangerous parts of North Carolina and in America. So he's saying, listen, I came up in the Ville. I'm used to this tension. Then he says this. He's still doing shows, but fell off like The Simpsons. Now, what does he mean here? Kendrick Lamar's tour of his latest album, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, had one of the highest grossing tours for a hip-hop artist ever. Drake just recently beat that, but he had that title for a little bit. So he's saying he's still doing shows and he's on top doing shows. But he fell off like The Simpsons. Now, The Simpsons has been running for God knows how long, I think since the late 80s, and now it's still running. And a lot of people, this is subject to opinion, feel like The Simpsons as a show fell off. So that's what he's basically referencing. He's saying, hey, they still have shows with The Simpsons, but they fell off. And that's what he's referencing with Kendrick. He still has shows, but just like The Simpsons, he's fell off. Continuing, he said, your first was a classic. Your last was tragic. Now, this is where he goes on the bars of mainly opinion. Now, there's some people that feel like this and agree with J. Cole 100%. There's some people that don't agree with J. Cole. This is mainly opinion, but this references Jay-Z's Takeover. And I'll get into that a little bit more. But he first says, your first shit was a classic. What's the official debut album of Kendrick Lamar? I know he dropped Section 80, but that was an independent album release. So he's referencing the major album releases, the official album releases, which is Good Kid, Mad City. And for the most part, most people feel like that album was a classic from Kendrick Lamar. So he's saying your first was a classic, your last was tragic. What's the last album he released? Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. And to a lot of people's eyes, people felt like Kendrick Lamar underperformed on there because we were waiting for 5 years. And, after all that wait, we didn't really get what we were expecting after that long time of waiting. Now, there's other people that like the album. Me personally, I think it's a pretty good album. I don't think it's that great, but I don't just call it tragic. I disagree, but that's just my take. And then he says, your second shit put guys to sleep, but they gassed it. What is he referencing here? To Pimp a Butterfly. This is the most interesting conversation because this has a lot of people split. This album has people either that love it or hate it. There's no in between. And right now you can see on social media people arguing about, hey, this won a Pulitzer Prize. This is one of those classics, won Grammys, all this stuff. But then there's other people saying this shit was just horrible. I didn't like it. So he's saying your second shit put people to sleep. The funny thing about this is J. Cole used to get a lot of slander on social media about his music putting people to sleep. I mean, it reminds me of that meme from the ATL movie. I ain't who I think it is. That meme that Big Boy says in the movie. That's what it reminded me of, because a lot of people think of J. Cole as the one that put people to sleep musically because his music was boring to a lot of people. I mean, he has a song called Folding Clothes from the For Your Eyes Only album. So a lot of people were like, you're the one to say that, but you've got that type of catalog too. That's people's opinion though. So he says that put people to sleep, but they gassed it. So he's referencing To Pimp a Butterfly. Then he says your third shit was massive, and that was your prime. And he's right. That third album was Kendrick's Damn album that was released, and that got him his highest first week sales ever, roughly 600 and something thousand first week. And they got him his first #1 hit on the Billboard Hot 100 with Humble. So that made it his commercial peak in terms of, what's the biggest he's been so far in his career. And it was at that moment in 2017 with Damn. I was trailing right behind, and I just now hit mine. So in a lot of people's eyes, and in J. Cole's eyes, he felt like, hey, Drake was this commercial success, huge. Kendrick reached that huge commercial success, and he was behind at the time. He hadn't reached that massive #1 hit, commercial success, huge success. And now he feels like he's hit that because he's had a lot of hits since then and a lot more commercial success since then. And he's saying, now I've hit my prime. Then he continues on and says, now I'm front of the line with a comfortable lead. How ironic, soon as I got it, now he wants something with me. So J. Cole feels like he's ahead of everybody right now. He's at his peak, and nobody's matching him. And a lot of people feel like that. Every time J. Cole's done feature guests, feature verses in 2023, a lot of people felt like it was verses of the year. But he says, how ironic, soon as I got it, now he wants something with me. Basically saying, listen, now that I got this buzz, now that I'm hot, now you want to go at me. And then he says, well, he caught me at the perfect time, jump up and see. And the jump up and see part is basically Kendrick Lamar is pretty short of a person, so J. Cole is really tall. So I'm sure he's probably referencing saying, hey, jump up and get at me, because you're so small compared to me. But he's also probably referencing Kendrick Lamar's like that verse where he says, okay, let's get it up. It's time for him to prove that he's a problem. So he could be referencing that in that line as well. J. Cole continues and says, boy, I got here off of bars, but not no controversy. Basically saying, I've never dissed anybody. I didn't have to diss anybody to get relevant and become hot the way I am. I just did it off rapping really good, which is facts. Funny thing about it, I don't even want the prestige. F the Grammys, because them ain't never done nothing for me, ho. Now, this is where the debate comes in. Is Kendrick the big three? Is he the best? a lot of people reference Kendrick Lamar's Grammy wins and nominations versus Drake and J. Cole's. But J. Cole's like, I don't care about the Grammys. It's just a bunch of white people that don't know what they're talking about when it comes to hip hop, which I agree with. A lot of the Grammys gets it a lot wrong, like throughout the years has gotten it wrong multiple times. And he says basically, hey, who cares about your Grammys? Because Kendrick Lamar has won 17 Grammys and has gotten 50 nominations, while J. Cole only has 2 Grammys and 17 nominations. So that's a huge gap, but he says he doesn't care about that. And most people that actually listen to music and hip hop don't care about a Grammy. I personally never cared who has the most, who's won. Never mattered to me. It's just a matter of opinion and people voting. That's all it is. Continuing on, he said, slugs took my guy, sold drugs, took another one. Now, this is where he's reflecting off of Kendrick Lamar's Like That verse, because on there, he even talks about losing people. On Like That, he says, lost too many soldiers, not to play it safe, which I mentioned earlier. So J. Cole is playing off that on the 7-minute drill verse. He continues and says, slug took my guy, sold drugs, took another one. The rap beef ain't realer than the shit I've seen in Cumberland. Now, this is where he references a lot of what Jay-Z did on Takeover. J. Cole says he's averaging one hard verse like every 30 months or something. If he wasn't dissing, then we wouldn't be discussing him. A lot of people, when that Kendrick Lamar Like That verse came out, felt like the only reason Kendrick's getting any hype is because he's going at Drake and J. Cole. And that's the only reason he can get hype. But other than that, nobody really cares about Kendrick Lamar. That's how people felt. And that's what J. Cole's reflecting here. He's saying, listen, you don't put out that much music. You don't do any features. You barely put out music, but you drop a great verse every once in a while. And that's why people talk about you, which is referencing also the Control verse that came out in 2013 and had this huge moment. And then people kind of moved on from it. So he's saying if he wasn't dissing, people wouldn't even be checking for this guy like that, which we don't know. I mean, if Like That didn't have that Kendrick Lamar diss and it just had Kendrick Lamar rapping on it really aggressive, who knows? It could have been still a hit because it's still Like That as a song itself is a hit. People are bumping it in the clubs right now. It doesn't even matter about the Kendrick diss part, I think. And that's just what I'm noticing and observing. So that's what J. Cole is saying. Then he continues and said, Lord, don't make me have to smoke this guy because I fuck with him. But push come to shove on this mic, I will humble him. Now, this is where some people felt like J. Cole was going soft on Kendrick. You guys got to remember that Kendrick Lamar on the Like That verse was mainly going at Drake. Most of those lines were at Drake, but he sent a little shots here at J. Cole. And that's why he's saying, listen, this guy's my friend. I like him. And J. Cole and Kendrick have been friends for a while. So the fact that they're going back and forth is a surprise to a lot of people. And this next lines are funny because it references a meme that is used quite often. And it actually was used for Tony Hawk at one point, which is hilarious. He says, I'm Nino with this thing, that New Jack City meme. Yeah, I'm aiming at G-Money, crying tears before I bust at him. If you guys don't know, there's a meme that goes that a lot of people have used where Nino, the character in the New Jack City film, is holding a gun and he's like crying tears because he doesn't want to kill the person, But that's what J. Cole is referencing, saying, listen, I don't want to have to smoke Kendrick Lamar because I actually like this guy. We're friends. But if I have to do it. And that's what that meme is. And it reminds me of a Tony Hawk moment on Twitter. It is hilarious. I got to show you guys. And the tweet says, when the race war is happening and I got to kill Tony Hawk. And then Tony Hawk actually responded to it saying, I appreciate the hesitation, though. Using that New Jack City meme, which is the funniest thing. That's what always reminds me of that meme. It's hilarious that Tony Hawk actually responded to that. So that's the wrap up of the first verse. Clearly towards the end, J. Cole makes it clear that, hey, this is warning. This is me responding to the little stuff that you said on the Like That towards me. But obviously Like That is mainly towards Drake. But Drake's too busy being an IG model. So we haven't got anything from Drake yet. Continuing on, verse 2. He said, I got mixed feelings about these fucking rap guys. It's over for that cap, the official cap peelers. 2-6, we don't at guys. We get at guys. This is referencing Drake. Honestly, it should be referencing Drake. He's not really referencing Drake, but it should be because too many rappers, social media, at people on social media instead of going at them. And honestly, I would love for this to be a subliminal at Drake because it should be. He said, shoot a guy lights out. Yeah, my dogs, stat fillers, stat stuffers, triple double. Get your ass black duffled. Body bag, body bag, body bag. Continuing on, he says, cold world, you ain't strapped up for Pilates class. Get a guy stretched if I feel disrespect. Yo, Your arms might be too short to box with the God. This is another reference at Kendrick Lamar's height as a short person, because Kendrick Lamar is first off, he's below average on height, but as a male. But J. Cole is super tall, too, so there's a huge difference there. So he's now making fun a little bit more at Kendrick Lamar's height. And he says, who live his life without the pressures of constant facade? I pray for peace, but if a guy sees these positive vibes, a Falcon 9 inside my pocket, bitch, this rocket gon' fly. Now it's popping outside like the top of July. My text flooded with the hunger for a toxic reply. So a lot of people are probably texting him saying, please respond to Kendrick Lamar. Please respond. But these are nice bars, just a bunch of wordplay. It's really good. And this is where J. Cole makes a little bit more clear that he's more hesitant to battle with Kendrick Lamar because he actually likes him and he's friends with him. At least that's what he thought. So this is what he says. I'm hesitant. I love my brother, but I'm not going to lie. I'm powered up for real. That would feel like swatting a fly. This is where he's saying, listen, Kendrick Lamar got me really, really hyped up in this battle. And I'm feeling like I'm the best right now, period. And me going against Kendrick would feel like I'm just swatting a little fly and getting him out of here. Continuing on, this is where he references Jay-Z's bars on Takeover. I can put both the bars right next to each other on the screen. He says, 4 albums in 12 years, guy I can divide. And on Takeover, what does Jay-Z say to Nas? He says, 4 albums in 10 years, guy I could divide. That's one every, let's say, 2. 2 of them shits was due. One was Nah, the other was Illmatic. That's one hot album every 10-year average. That's what Jay-Z was saying. He's referencing a lot of Jay-Z's Takeover bars. Continuing on, J. Cole said, if this is what you want, I'm indulgent in violence. This is a reflection of Kendrick Lamar's Like That verse where he says, my temperament bipolar, I choose violence. Continuing on, he says, put pictures of my home, aim the chrome at your eyelids, fly pebbles at your dome, we the Stone Temple Pilots. And this is just referencing the Stone Temple Pilots band, which is great wordplay. He says, this is merely a warning shot to back guys down. This is clear as day. He's just saying, hey, this is a warning shot. I can go way harder than this to Kendrick Lamar. And rightfully so. I don't know why anybody would criticize this response to Kendrick Lamar, because we got to remember, like I said earlier in the video, Kendrick Lamar's Like That was mainly aimed towards Drake. Let's not get that twisted. Do not fall for this. Let's not let Drake get away with IG captions, because he was clowning Meek Mill about the Twitter fingers and taking forever to respond, saying, I waited 4 days, where y'all at on back-to-back. But now he's doing the same thing with Kendrick. So let's not let that slide, guys. Please don't get distracted with this J. Cole and Kendrick thing, even though it's honestly, I would prefer a J. Cole and Kendrick battle a lot more, but we can't let Drake slide with this stuff. So he's saying it's merely a warning shot that if you respond back with a full diss, okay, now it's on. He said, back in town where they whipping work and trafficking pounds, my jack jumping about a rapper making blasphemous sounds. And this is probably referencing Kendrick Lamar's like moaning that he makes on the Like That, like that type of sounds. He's probably like, what the hell's going on? He says, switching sides like a tassel on the cape and gown. I'm fully loaded guy. I can drop 2 classics right now. And that sums up the second verse of the 7-minute drill track. He says, hey, let me chill out, man. The fall off on the way. So J. Cole is feeling himself right now. This is like, for J. Cole, this is the ideal situation to get into a battle with somebody at his level. And Kendrick is perfect person to do it. So I don't know what's going to happen from here, but I do know one thing. Drake has been ducking everything. Drake is the one that should be, the forefront in all this, because Drake and Kendrick has been simmering for forever, more than J. Cole and Kendrick. And the ironic thing in this is on the second verse, the beat switches, and the beat is sampling Drake's Energy track. I got enemies, got a lot of enemies. That Energy track that he dropped on If You're Reading This Is Too Late, it's sampling that. So it still has a hint of Drake in here that J. Cole did. So I don't know if J. Cole is going to come out and then Drake's going to come right behind him and then Kendrick's going to respond, or is this going to be 2 separate battles where Kendrick's going to take on J. Cole, and then if Drake responds, he's going to take on Drake. We don't know what's going to happen from here, but I do know one thing. Drake has been ducking. And Drake, this is not acceptable, man. You went in on Meek Mill, and you did the back-to-back and you clowned him. Now that back-to-back is sounding really corny of a record because everything you said on there, you're doing yourself when it comes to Kendrick Lamar. And finally, you got somebody that has the same star power as you and can match your lyrical ability or even be better than your lyrical ability, and you're ducking him. Every time you've battled somebody, it was somebody that either had high lyrical ability and low star power or had high star power and low lyrical ability. But now you got somebody that's even with you or even better than you in some aspects. I think in star power, Drake's obviously the biggest, but I think lyrical ability, you could argue Kendrick is a little bit better. So Drake is ducking it. Let's not shift our attention to Drake just missing out and not doing anything. He's being an IG female, just dropping captions. That's all he's doing right now. I don't care if he's on tour. I don't care about any of that. He was clowning Meek. Now he's doing the same thing that Meek did. But I got to give really, really big props to J. Cole. Never went on social media. Didn't hear a single peep from him. I actually, on my last podcast, predicted that, hey, J. Cole might respond to him during the Dreamville Festival, which is actually this weekend. And I actually, in my mind, was thinking J. Cole was going to do the same thing Jay-Z did with Takeover on Hot 97 in the Summer Jam. You know, where we previewed that verse going at Nas and Prodigy and all that, Mobb Deep. I was thinking J. Cole's going to do the same thing for Dreamville Festival, preview a verse going at Kendrick. But he did one better and dropped the full project with the track out already before the festival. So shout out to J. Cole for not dropping IG captions, not going on social media, no Twitter fingers, but dropping music on wax. That's what we like. And Kendrick's not going to go on social media. He's not social media like either. So we're probably going to get a response from Kendrick at any given moment, maybe this month. Because Kendrick is fired up. Kendrick knew that if he's going to set this out there, he's got to have something planned if J. Cole and Drake come at him. And I'm sure he's got something planned. So it's going to be interesting, man. I love this. This is hip-hop competition. Hip-hop is a sport in itself. This is what hip-hop's about, guys. It's always been competitive. So as long as it doesn't spill to real violence, that's where things get corny in my eyes. But as long as it stays in battles, I'm all for it. So let me know what you guys think. What do you guys think of J. Cole's response? Was it a proper response? I think Kendrick gave J. Cole a little jab, and then J. Cole gave him a little 1-2 punch, and that's it. And what do you guys think of Drake? Is he ducking, or is he letting J. Cole do the dirty work for him? Because Drake has been known to do that quite a bit. So, yeah, we'll keep our eyes posted. Producer T-Minus explains J. Cole's 7-minute drill and where that title came from. Because when a lot of people were listening to the 7-minute drill diss track towards Kendrick Lamar, people were like, we thought this was a 7-minute track. But that's not where the title comes from. So T-Minus, who actually I love as a producer, I think he's one of the best, explains where that title come from. It's actually very interesting. So let's play the clip.
So a lot of people that don't know, so Cole, he likes to do these drills. Like he likes to do these writing drills. Like he calls them like 7-minute writing drills.
Yeah.
So what he'll do is like he'll write a joint for like 7 minutes and see how far he can get. See if he can do a 16 in like 7 minutes or as much as he can get done. But he also does it with production. So over the last few years, like when we cook up, he'll be like, "Yo, make a beat in 7 minutes. Like go."
Right.
And yo, that's a lot of pressure as a producer because it's like, yo, I gotta like come up with the music, the drums, arrangement, you know what I mean? Like put everything together and make good choices.
Right.
You know, for a lot of people that might not know, like as a producer, I'm kind of a perfectionist when it comes to the music. So I like to spend, maybe like 45 minutes or an hour and a half. Like it might go even longer trying to perfect a beat. But when Cole's like, yo, make a beat in 7 minutes, I'm like, shit, like how am I gonna come up with this beat in 7 minutes? So the good thing about it is that with the 7-minute drill, it's like it puts you in a position where you gotta like come up with some shit fast. You gotta do a beat fast. You can't really overthink because you're just in the process of making it. So a lot of times it might be a quick 7-minute beat and we move on, another 7-minute beat, another one. So we're in the studio, Cole's like, yo, do a 7-minute beat, let's go, quick. So I do the 7-minute beat, and so what happens is sometimes I'll be like, yo, you do a verse in 7 minutes. So after I did my 7-minute beat, I was like, yo, it's your turn. She's like, yo, give me a word. So I looked at my FL Studio system and I saw the word light, so I was like, light.
Right.
And so he just took it from there. He started with light. And I left the room, I gave him 7 minutes. I came back and he's like, yo, just give me another 7 minutes. I think I got something going, so the rest was history.
Interesting way of working on music, man. I don't think I've ever heard anything like this when it comes to recording and creating music. Producer has 7 minutes to come up with a beat. Artist gets a topic and have 7 minutes to write something. It does, like T-Minus is explaining, I think it does sharpen the pen and just puts you more on got kind of like an edge to always be sharp in your writing abilities, because things like battles can happen, So very cool, man. It's cool to hear the backstory on it. A lot of people were saying, yeah, we understand that it's 7 minute drill because the beat sounds like it was made in 7 minutes, which people are disrespecting the beat. I actually enjoyed both versions of the beat, in my opinion. And J. Cole did somewhat of his thing on the track. He went light. He didn't want to go at Kendrick, but we're gonna be talking about that a little bit later, of what he's just did as I'm recording this podcast. He apologized. So let's talk about that. And that shit is just gonna piss me off to a whole different level. So let's get into that. J. Cole, man. Listen, Kendrick Lamar is the boogeyman. That's just it is what it is. He was right. There is no big three. It's just big me. He's speaking facts. Kendrick Lamar has turned Drake into an IG thought that just writes captions and ignores what's going on. This is the same rapper that was poking fun at Meek Mill and said trigger fingers turned to Twitter fingers, and it was clowning him for not responding. 4 days, where y'all at on back-to-back and all this? He turned to IG thought writing captions with his face all sad and all these smushy faces. Now you got J. Cole being a spokesperson for Charmin Ultra Soft. This is ridiculous. J. Cole is apologizing to Kendrick Lamar for dissing him. What? This is hip hop. Let me not get into riled up and all this stuff. One guy's turned to Charmin Ultra Soft. He went from, I'm the biggest prime rapper right now. I'm in my prime. I'll cook anybody that goes at me. One guy turned to IG thought. Kendrick Lamar is the big guy. He's the big me. That's it. That's it. No Diddy, by the way. No Diddy when I said big guy. I'm just saying. He's the big me. No Diddy. This guy is Candyman. This guy has these guys shivering, scared to even do anything. So J. Cole had his Dream Reel Festival. I predicted that J. Cole would potentially have his Jay-Z moment from Hot 97 Summer Jam, where he previewed Takeover when it's going at Mobb Deep and Nas. That's what I predicted J. Cole would have done. Instead, he dropped a diss track, 7 Minute Drill, days earlier off his mixtape, Might Delete Later. He dropped it on Friday. If you haven't seen the video, I broke that down in my previous video, lyric bar for bar. Instead of doing that, he does the opposite and apologizes for the diss. So check out the video clip.
So I'm so proud of that project, except for one part. It's one part of that make me feel like, man, that's the lamest shit I ever did in my fucking life, right? And I know this is not what a lot of people want to hear. I know I can hear my niggas up there right now like, nah, don't do that. But I got to keep it 100 with y'all, right? I damn near had a relapse, right? Because y'all heard some shit that happened 3 weeks ago, however long it was. Y'all heard that bazooka that was dropped on the motherfucking game, right? So all of this time of me moving on my own accord, for the first time I was tested. Why am I tested? Because I got the world and I got my niggas like, what you gonna do, Cole? My niggas like, boy, I must have had 1,000 missed calls. Oh my fucking God. Text flooded. I couldn't even answer my shit. It's wartime. Right? You want to see blood. And I was conflicted because, one, I know my heart, you know what I mean? And like, I know how I feel about my peers, these two niggas that I just been blessed to even stand beside in this game, let alone chase their greatness, right? So I felt conflicted because I'm like, bro, I know I don't really feel no way, but the world want to see blood. I don't know if y'all can feel that, but the world want to see blood. So I say all of that to say, in my spirit of trying to like get this music out, I ain't gonna lie to y'all, I moved in a way that I feel spiritually feel bad on me. Like I try to like jab my nigga back and I try to keep it friendly, but at the end of the day, when I listen to it and when it comes out and I see the talk, that shit don't sit right with my spirit. That shit make me feel, that shit disrupts my peace. So what I want to say right here tonight is, in the midst of me doing that and in that shit, trying to find a little angle and downplay this catalog and his greatness. I want to say right now tonight, how many people think Kendrick Lamar is one of the greatest mother ever touch a fucking microphone? Dreamville, y'all love Kendrick Lamar, correct? As do I. So I just want to come up here and be like, publicly be like, bruh, that was the lamest, like, goofiest shit. And I say all that to say, it made me feel like 10 years ago when I was moving incorrectly. And I pray that God align me back up on my purpose and on my path. You know what I mean? I pray that my nigga really didn't feel no way. And if he did, my nigga, I got my chin out. Take your best shot. I'm gonna take that shit chin, boy. Do what you do. You know what I mean? Like, all good. Like, it's love. And I pray that, y'all are like, forgive a nigga for like the misstep, and then I can get back to my true path. Cause I ain't gonna lie to y'all. The past 2 days felt terrible. Like, it let me know how good I've been sleeping for the past 10 years. So all of that to say, man, I wanna now perform the song that's a reminder to me of getting back on the right path and getting in tune with God. And the name of the song is called Love Yours. I wanna do that for y'all right now.
Come on, man. J. Cole, listen. Because hip-hop has always been about competition. You know, you're a hip-hop historian. You know that. You know, you're one of the best rappers out right now, clearly. Nobody who's actual fans of you guys wanted to see blood. That's a wrong misconception. We just want to see competition. Nobody wants to see Kendrick do a drive-by shooting and kill you guys like Tupac and Biggie and have each coast dying and people dying. Nobody said they want to see that. People just want to see competition. I grew up in the 50 Cent era where there was beef consistently competing. Now, some of the 50 Cent stuff got way out of hand, obviously. But just competing, look at that. 50 and Fat Joe beefed. Boom, they're friends again. 50 and Cameron, 50 and Nas, they're friends now. They're cool. And come on, man. I don't even know what to. I'm speechless. You went Charmin Ultra Soft. And I think it's for multiple things. I don't think in hip-hop history has anybody ever apologized after releasing the diss track literally 2 days later. Now, years down the line, yeah, some people say, you know what, I went too far on that. You know, I wish I wouldn't have released that, blah, blah, blah. Now, there was a moment where I can remember where Gucci Mane played his Truth diss track to Jeezy in the verses live. He said that night he regret playing that diss track in front of Jeezy. But that's a kind of a different thing. It's live in person. He's not referring to the diss track itself. He's just referring to what he did in front of Jeezy as disrespectful. I can recall that as being something that somebody regrets towards diss tracks, but recording something and then pulling it back, all this proves to me is that you're scared of what Kendrick would have came back with and how aggressive he would have came with whatever he had. Because Kendrick doesn't care, clearly. Now, I will agree with J. Cole in the fact that the reason he wants to pull this back is probably because he realized, hey, this is a Drake and Kendrick Lamar situation. And I got kind of dragged a little bit into this. And I decided to have my own lane. Now, in my thought, I'm thinking maybe Drake hyped him up to respond to Kendrick so that the tension could be away from Drake, because Drake hasn't done anything yet. He's been scared, honestly, to say anything. That's the way I'm viewing it. Other people are saying, no, he's just taking his time, whatever that may be. Aubrey, whatever. You're out here writing captions, do your thing. But I think somebody put a battery in his back, and he probably felt like, because he said in the speech, a lot of people were hyping me up to respond. I responded, and I didn't want to really go in. And we all sensed that on the track. We all could hear J. Cole kind of being hesitant, like, do I really want to do this? And, that G baby money, whatever, that meme comment that he said in the lyrics, all that stuff. So it was clear that J. Cole didn't really want to do it. And they've been friends before, and I'm just disappointed. That's it, man. I'm disappointed in the fact that he apologized and backtracked and said I couldn't sleep. He did say, though, that, if Kendrick responds, he'll take it in the chin and just give him his best shot, whatever. No Diddy. And, we'll see. I don't know if Kendrick's actually going to go at him because of this. But I, personally, if I was Kendrick, man, I would stomp both of them out and just, hey, it's Big Me. That's it. I know it sounds vicious, but it's hip-hop, man. It's not like people are getting killed. It's just a battle. It's about, in every field, you should want to feel like you're the best and you should compete for the top spot. It doesn't matter whether it's hip-hop. I don't care if you're McDonald's flipping burgers. I don't care if you're an executive trading stocks. I don't care if you're a dentist. I don't care what you are. You should want to be the best in your field. And that's all this is. It's just competition, friendly competition. Now, if it starts to escalate, which I don't think with J. Cole, Kendrick, and Drake, it would escalate. But if it starts to escalate, then it's a little bit different, at that point. And the funny thing is, it looks like he actually lived up to the title of the album, Might Delete Later, because he said he's going to be taking the song off streaming platforms, the 7-minute drill track. He's going to take it off streaming platforms, which, again, is another thing that I'm like, whatever. But the only positive that I can think that comes from this is now the attention is back on Aubrey. Aubrey, yes, man. You, the guy I'm not even going to mention you by your rapper name anymore. I know your middle name's Drake, but I'm going to call you Aubrey, and I'm going to call Jermaine. Jermaine is no longer part of the big three. I think because of this, it kind of disqualifies him because you can't go in hip-hop and beat your chest talking about, hey, I'm the best, and if anybody comes at me, I'll cook them, and all this stuff, and lyrically, I'm in my prime, and this and that. And then when a battle presents itself, I apologize, I don't want nothing to do with it. And Kendrick Lamar predict this on The Heart Part 4. This is what Kendrick Lamar said on The Heart Part 2 in verse 2. This aged perfectly. It fits this moment exactly. This is what he said. My fans can't wait for me to sun your punk ass and crush your whole little shit. I'll big pun your punk ass, you a scared little bitch. Tiptoeing around my name, you lame. And when I get at you, homie, don't you just tell me you was just playing. Oh, I was just playing, K-Dot. Come on. You know a guy rock with you, bro. Shut the fuck up. You sound like the last guy I know. Might end up like the last guy I know. Oh, you don't want to clash? I know. Put my foot on the gas, head on the floor. Come on, man. Like, Kendrick wants full-on war battle, which everybody loves in hip-hop, but then J. Cole backtracks. Now, like I said earlier, I do think that, like that verse that Kendrick spit, was mainly towards Drake. And that, kind of J. Cole got a little bit entangled in there, and J. Cole doesn't want to be a part of it. Because Kendrick could go at both of them. Honestly, I would have loved that. But it is what it is. We'll push that in the back burner. All eyes are on Aubrey, which I love because now it's just more pressure on him. Now people are going to be back to Aubrey. What is he doing? Is there going to be a new IG caption that drops tomorrow from Aubrey? Find out on the next episode of Dragon Ball Z. So what do you guys think of it? Me personally, like I said, I think... it's lame. I think imagine if like Nas just backtracked his ether and said, I apologize, please, Jay-Z, let's not do this. Or Jay-Z backtrack Takeover, or 50 backtrack the Ja Rule beef and was like, I apologize. Like, just imagine that hasn't happened in hip hop. It's weird, I think, in my opinion, man. It's something that I get it. He's like, I couldn't sleep, blah, blah, blah. So I don't know, man. I think J. Cole, just as long as he apologized, I think Kendrick's gonna kind of let him. I don't think Kendrick's gonna really go at J. Cole because of this. I think they've had more of a history together than Drake. So Aubrey, where you at, man? Where y'all at? Waited 4 days. What we at, like 2-3 weeks now? Where y'all at? So that's my side on it. The only good news out of this is that we focus on Drake now, and we potentially get them back and forth, or Aubrey does the ignoring thing and pretends that he's never going to respond. So we might not ever get anything out of that either. But we'll see. We'll keep our eye out. I know Future and Metro Boomin are dropping their second album this upcoming week. So I don't know if Kendrick's featuring on it. Nobody knows. If he is, well, then we might get another Kendrick verse. Who knows? I doubt it, but I think Drake's probably waiting on that to release and seeing what's coming out of that. If nothing comes out of that, maybe Drake will respond. Who knows? I'm just throwing things out there. But what do you guys think, man? Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and we'll keep you guys posted if anything else happens. Now let's get into new music. Obviously, J. Cole dropped Might Delete Later. It's a mixtape / I think it's just a mixtape. I don't think it's an album. It's projected to do like 160,000 first week, 180,000, something like that. So I listened to the project. To be honest with you, I don't want to give a full review because I haven't really listened to it like that. I went through it about once or twice, and it's all right, to be honest with you. It's not that great of a project, but I think these are mainly like the fall off leftovers or just tracks he kind of just wanted to get out there and kind of makes sense or whatever. But Bryson Tiller dropped his self-titled album, Bryson Tiller. Lil Wayne and Young Thug dropped Bless. Quavo dropped Potato Loaded featuring Destroy Lonely. Vori dropped Eros EP. Glorilla dropped A Thang mixtape. Khalid dropped Please Don't Fall in Love with Me. Doja Cat dropped Scarlet 2, the Claude album. So check out those projects. Album sales. Beyonce is number one with the Bullet with Cowboy Carter. It's done 418,000 copies the first week. Astronomical numbers. We'll see. I think the only person that actually can top this is those artists like Kendrick, Drake, J. Cole, maybe Morgan Wallen, those type of artists that sell a lot. Who else? Adele, Eminem, potentially. I don't know. Those type of artists that are top tier, they can probably do those type of numbers. But Beyonce's got the number one spot for a while, unless somebody else drops. That's a high level that I just mentioned. Number 2, Future Metro Boomin, We Don't Trust You at 134,877 copies. Great numbers. Number 3, Morgan Wallen, One Thing at a Time with 69,000. Number 4, Ariana Grande, Eternal Sunshine with 58,000. Number 5, Olivia Rodrigo, Guts at 50,000. Number 6, debut, J-Hope, Hope on the Street Volume 1 with 48,000. Number 7, Noah Khan, Stick Season, 44,000. Number 8, Taylor Swift, Lover, 39,000. Number 9, SZA, SOS with 38,000. And then Zach Bryan at number 10 with 38,000. Going down, Drake, For All the Dogs, number 13 with 33,000. Number 19, Kanye West and Ty Dolla $ign, Vultures at 27,000. Number 21, 21 Savage, American Dream at 24,000. Drake, Take Care, number 37 with 18,000. Lil Baby, My Turn, number 40 with 17,000. SZA, Control, number 42 with 17,000. Eminem, Kendrick Lamar, Damn, at number 43 with 17,000. Eminem, Curtain Call, number 44 with 17,000. MGK and Trippie Redd debuted at number 46 with Genre Sad Boy at 16,000. And the Metro Boomin Heroes and Villains at number 49 with 16,000. Now, I know a lot of Eminem stans. I know Eminem fans don't think like this because they're more logical. But Eminem stans posted MGK and Trippie Redd's album sales and posted Eminem's Curtain Call album sales, which is Eminem's greatest hits album, and said that Eminem outsold MGK even off an album that came out in 2005. I think the album came out. Oh my God, after all these years, Eminem's still outselling Machine Gun Kelly. He's washed. First off, guys, one is a greatest hits album. A greatest hits album's always going to do numbers because it has all the fucking hits on it. Number 1. Number 2, group albums never sell as much as solo albums. So why is Eminem Stans dragging Machine Gun Kelly? Like, what's the point of that? I don't like, Machine Gun Kelly has gotten more popular. Just look at the search bars. He's gotten more popular after the Eminem beef. His career didn't die. Now, did he shift careers? Yeah, I give a round of applause. Eminem, I guess, made him be scared to be a rapper and just go to rock. Regardless, as a career, doesn't matter what he's doing, he's still relevant. He's gotten actually bigger after the Eminem thing, even though he switched genres. Now, to judge his sales off of a collab album with Trippie Redd is the dumbest thing ever. But Eminem stans are going to, throw shade and still attack him, which makes no sense. Like, I don't, collab albums always sell less. What did Eminem do on Recovery? Like 760, 740,000 first week, right? The next year, 2011, 1 year, that's all that happened. 1 year, nothing changed. 1 year. What'd he drop? Eminem with Royce da 5'9" did 100 and something thousand, whatever the fuck he did first week on that, 160, 140. That's like a 70 to 80% drop in first week sales. Nobody called that a flop. Nobody attacked that. Nobody said Eminem flopped because it's a collab album. Group albums and collab albums usually never sell more than the solo artist project. I don't know why. I don't know what the math is behind that. I don't know what the science is, because me personally, if I still am a fan of an artist, I will still check out a collab album they did. If 50 ever did a collab album, which unfortunately in his career he never did, which sucks, or the group G-Unit, for example. I bought the G-Unit album. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if it had Tony Yayo, Buck. If I didn't like any of those people, I still bought it because 50 is a part of it. But that's just being a hardcore fan. But, to assume because he did a collab album and it flopped, oh, he's washed. But no. This if you look at the search, because a fan posted like the search bar and said, oh, Machine Gun Kelly's peak was when Eminem dissed him, and that was the highest he's ever gotten in fame. But then it went back down, of course, because that's like when the most intensity, most things were happening. Of course, Machine Gun Kelly's name got the biggest at that moment. But you look after that, it was higher than it was previously before the beef. So it helped him, regardless. But I'm not going to get into all that, man. You guys, some M stands, they just love to clown on Machine Gun Kelly every chance they get. I'm not defending. I'm not even a big Machine Gun Kelly fan. I just want people to be, not biased and respectful in this situation because, Eminem helped them regardless. So that's it for today's episode of the Diverse Mentality Podcast. It's powered by Golden Eagle Energy Drink. Show them love. Go to drinkgoldeneagle.com/DMP. Show them love, please, guys. It would mean the world to me. They're supporting all of season 4, so please show them love. Of course, Spotify, Deezer, Pocket Cast, Apple Podcast, wherever you can listen to podcasts, you can check out this podcast, and the video version is on YouTube. As always, have an amazing night, day, whenever you listen to this, and peace.